What teams are on a bye this week? Oh, shit. Week 7, running back, start sits, up next. It's week 7, and you know there's got to be major bye weeks for me leading off with Miles Sanders as a start. 67% of managers have this guy in their roster, in their lineup right now. Obvious risk here, man. We're talking about a guy that had 2 rushes in week 3. Two rushes in week 3. However, we've seen uptick in usage since week 3. We've seen more usage in the passing game than I think we even ever anticipated with the addition of Kenneth Gainwell in the offseason. And then we think about the fact that I've never seen a fan base get so excited about a running back touching the fucking ball in a game. Just touching it. Just, they handed the ball off to him. The fucking stadium's going fucking wild! If Nick Sirianni hasn't gotten the fucking picture at this point, he hasn't gotten the fucking message. One and done, bro. Use Myles Sanders. It starts right now. That fucking matchup is not bad at all. And this is the one thing that I thought was very interesting. 7th most snaps at the position in the league. What? The snaps are there. We're just waiting for the touches. The opportunity for touches is coming. You look at the schedule, up and coming. I think Miles Sanders finally has an ability to start breaking out to be the player that we kind of want him to be. I don't know if he'll ever be what we want him to be as long as he's in Philadelphia. There is just something about him and Philly that hasn't meshed. But the yards per carry is there. Outside of one game, he's been quite efficient with the ball. In some games, overly efficient with the ball. And like I said, more involved in the passing game than we expected. He, last week in week 6, outpaced Kenneth Gainwell, basically made him an afterthought. Maybe this is finally the point where we see Nick Sirianni finally do what he's supposed to do and hand the fucking ball off to Miles Sanders. I'm telling you, I know it's risky, but he is in my lineup heading into week 7, and not just because of buys. I think I could fudge a different player in there, but I have a feeling. And I normally don't go with feelings. I'm normally pretty analytical on this site, but there's a feeling inside here ready to burst out like Miles Sanders. And for me, start week 7. Get him in your lineup. Think you'll finally be happy. And if you don't, egg on my face. Okay? Egg on my face. Put up or shut up time. It's put up or shut up time for Myles Gaskin, man. This, if you know my channel at all, shameless plug. Go ahead, like in the lower corner. But if you know my channel at all, you know I was big on Myles Gaskin, and for good reason, heading into this season. And he hasn't been there. He hasn't been what we've hoped him to be. Honestly, it kind of looked like maybe it was starting to set up very similar to last year, where really slow start. They tried forcing, this short yardage back situation that wasn't fucking working. And then finally we're like, you know what? Let's give Myles Gaskin the ball. And then he started going, and that's what got everybody excited about Myles Gaskin for 2021, right? Well, it kind of looked the same way. And then week 5 happened. And I think everybody's like, holy shit, they finally decided to give Myles Gaskin the ball. Let's go. Yeah, then Jacksonville and London and like, what? He got like 10 targets, 2 receptions. Absolutely terrible, especially at the position when you think about what kind of, how easy those targets are to catch, and to have a 20% catch rate. Just absolutely atrocious. I think he averaged 1.8 yards per carry. Just pathetic against a average not even average defense in the Jacksonville Jaguars. And they really had to rely on Jalen Waddle. And this, it doesn't help that the offensive line is trash, right? The offensive line in Miami is trash. Let's be real about that. But he's supposed to excel in the passing game. He got big, ample opportunity to excel in the passing game. And in week 6, he literally dropped the fucking ball. So Myles Gaskin was week 5 a fooled you week, or, is he going to be able to bounce back? I don't know, man. Are they going to try Savon Ahmed? I don't know. But it's not a terrible matchup. He should be able to, if given opportunity, to produce something this week, which is why he's in this put up or shut up position. Because if he can't this week, then as much as I would love for him to finally break out and do what I think he's capable of doing, if he can't do it this week, I don't know if I put him in Dropsville, but I definitely put him in, you're riding the fucking pine, sir. But this is what he's supposed to be there for at this point. If he can't be your RB2, he should at least be able to be a bye week fill-in. And if he can't be a bye week fill-in, then maybe he is welcome to Dumpsville. I don't know. But I don't know what your roster is. But this really is, to me, the line of demarcation for Myles Gaskin. If you can't do it this week, I just don't know why you will do it. Unless maybe you get Deshaun Watson and that helps anything. But when the fuck did Deshaun Watson ever help a running back? What kind of running backs did they have with goddamn Deshaun Watson? Man, who was really good running the ball in Houston with Deshaun Watson? So, was he good at dumping the ball off? No, he ran the fucking ball. So, I just put up or shut up, Myles Gaskin, whatever. Yeah. In a position to succeed, guys, this one, he's in a position to succeed. It hasn't been sexy. Hasn't been great. But it hasn't been a dumpster fire. It hasn't been a steaming pile of dog shit. So it's Mike Davis, right? 39% started in a week where we have Zach Moss out. We have Zeke and Tony Pollard out. James Robinson's out. Cook and Madison are, the combination of the two are out. Najee Harris is out. Oh, did I miss anybody? Austin Eckler is out. So I don't know how you can skip on Mike Davis in this situation. He's got a great matchup. The Dolphins are terrible against running backs. They've given up 7 touchdowns to the running backs in 6 weeks. I understand Patterson is there, and I do think Patterson is also a start this week, but he's become that, he's the obvious start. Mike Davis is like, he hasn't been as good, but he's not been terrible. Outside of week 1 and week 3, his yards per carry has been pretty good. I understand that. That's only 60% of the time he's been out there. He's been productive, but we're talking about a middling offense in the Atlanta Falcons. They did look better heading into the bye. they do look like they have some cohesion as to they want to use Mike Davis. Mike Davis will get touches. You're talking about a guy that, I mean, is getting double-digit touches every single week. I mean, he is used in the passing game, despite the fact that Patterson's being used in the passing game. It's not sexy. I get it. It's not like somebody you're like, yeah, can't wait to put Mike Davis. Look at this juicy matchup. Get him in my lineup. But during this week, I mean, I don't know how he's not at least 60% started. There's 20% managers out there that I think should at least have Mike Davis in their lineup, or they just got some good. Maybe they went out. Maybe they picked up Khalil Herbert, who's got a terrible matchup this week against Tampa Bay. Maybe a Damien Williams is coming back. Maybe that's not as good of a play as you think. I don't know. But Mike Davis, 39% started in a Binado week, I think has a great position to not blow the socks off, but be good for your team in a week where I listed off all the fucking running backs that are out. There's a lot of major names. So you might not be hurting, but your opponent might be hurting. You know, in which case, great. But Mike Davis is a good play in week 7. Another good play, Damien Harris is a guy that's almost to the 50-50 mark. He's 45% started. You know, we're talking about a guy who broke 100 yards last week. Whoop, whoop. Got 101 yards. Whoop, whoop. Boom, boom, boom. Scored a touchdown. Found the end zone in week 6. And I think he does it again in week 7. Why? New York Jets, brother. Yes. New York Jets, week 7. Everybody should be just drooling over this matchup, whatever running back you have. Oh, it's the Jets. Start. Done. Talking about a team that's given up 6 touchdowns on the ground to the running back, including 2 in week 2 to New England. That's right. We already have a sample size. Week 2, Harris had 64 yards. He had a catch for 2 yards. He had a touchdown. I think they have a good opportunity. This team started getting healthy. That 4 offensive linemen that they were missing in week 5 against Houston was down to 2 offensive linemen being missed last week. And that led to a lot better production in the running game for this team. Now you get the worst run defense in the league. Granted, coming off a bye, but you think you're fixing the worst run defense in the league in New York off the bye. I don't. That fucking team that's a project right there, and New England gets it now, and Damien Harris gets it right now, and you're talking about, you know, like 6, 7 major running back. I mean, we're not even taking into account Kareem Hunt and Chubb not playing this week. You know, Christian McCaffrey's not playing. Like, the names of running backs that aren't playing this week makes Damien Harris a good play. 65% of managers not playing him right now. That to me is possibly a mistake, depending on who you have, obviously, on your roster. But a lot of names missing this week. Another quick shameless plug, letting you know I do join 1080 The Fan here in Portland, Oregon on Sunday mornings. We take start-sit questions. We can take your start-sit questions. You can find out how in the description of this video. And we will move on to Not Your Week. Elijah Moore, San Francisco 49er running back, coming off the bye. 41% started. I get it, honestly. San Francisco typically pretty good with the running back position, but it's been a mess in San Francisco this year with Jimmy Garoppolo and the injuries at the quarterback position. And I mean, it's just Trey Lance is not ready. He's dealing with injuries. Elijah Mitchell's dealt with injuries. Like, Trey Sherman's dealt with injuries. Jermichael Hasty's dealt with injuries. Like, Jeff Wilson Jr.'s dealing with injuries. Kittle's dealing with injuries. Like, it's 2020 all over again, except it's all on the offense. This entire offense is a mess outside of Deebo Samuel, who is a must start this week. But Elijah Mitchell is just, he's not your best bet during the bye. NATO. However, obviously with the limited, players at the position, he might be your best bet just based on the fact of opportunity, but it is not a great matchup. That front seven for Indy is very good. The secondary is very bad, hence the Deebo Samuel, a must start. They don't have George Kittle. I'm worried about that, how that's going to affect the running game. Kittle is a good blocker, right? Like, Kittle is not just known for being a great receiving tight end. Kittle is considered to be one of, if not the best all-around tight ends in the NFL, and that includes being a factor in the running game. And if Kittle's not there, going against a tough front seven for the Indianapolis Colts and a beat-up, terrible secondary, what are you going to do? You're going to probably try to take advantage of that. It might even, in DFS, I think Brandon Ayuk's an interesting play. In redraft, hell no. I need to see it. But coming out of the bye, I could also see them trying to lean on Ayuk a little bit, trying to get this passing game going. And who knows, maybe JaMychal Hasty comes back from that high ankle sprain. Maybe they decide to go back to Trey Sherman. It's hard to trust San Francisco backfields when there's confusion. And right now there's plenty of confusion as to what the fuck's going on with this offense. How do we, figure this out? What quarterback's starting for these guys, right? So there's just a lot of confusion around this entire offense right now, is who's starting, who's hurt, so hurt they can't play. I just kind of want to avoid it. Some guys to beware in week 7. Alex Collins on Monday night, right? He's got Monday Night Football. We're talking about a guy that's dealing with a hip injury, like a quad groin injury, something like that as well. He's been limited in practice this week. We don't know. The problem here, the number one thing, like if we know Alex Collins is a full go, he's going to be the guy, he's practicing full, right? I'm probably starting him. The problem is it's Monday, and what if he doesn't go? And then do you have DJ Dallas? Do you have the ability to get DJ Dallas, right? Like, do you just go and waste a roster spot and have DJ Dallas and Alex Collins on your roster? You probably already have Chris Carson on your roster. What if you couldn't put him in your IR spot? Like, there is too much going on in this backfield. What if goddamn Rashad Penny comes back? Like, we don't know because it's on Monday. It would be bad enough if it was Sunday night, right? But now we're talking about Monday, and that leaves it really hard. You basically have to leave a spot open on your roster to be able to pivot to a DJ Dallas if Alex Collins doesn't go. So, I mean, you got a good defensive front in New Orleans that are good against the run. In this offense right now with Geno Smith is just something that's hard to trust. I think I'll look elsewhere other than Alex Collins and the Seattle backfield. Another guy that's tough, man. 80%, basically 79% of owners are starting Antonio Gibson. Now, we're talking about that guy that couldn't finish week 6. He had 10 rushes. And only one team has rushed for 100 yards or more against Green Bay. And that was and that took 33 attempts against New Orleans in week 1. You guys remember that game? Guys, remember that was one of the weirdest games in the world, right? Like Green Bay looked like trash. New Orleans threw 5 touchdowns, but Winston only threw the ball 20 times. It was a weird game, and that's the only time that Green Bay has given up 100 or more yards. You're talking about a guy now in Antonio Gibson with a fracture in his shin, or at least a micro fracture. Couldn't finish week 6. J.D. McKissic got to run the ball 8 times. And we're talking about a guy that's only has 2 games. So 40% of the time is rushing for more than 14 attempts. And that's why we want Antonio Gibson, right? His opportunity. He's supposed to be kind of like a workhorse back. He was sold as in training camp the next Christian McCaffrey. And he's sparingly used in the passing game. The last time he was on this list, it was against Buffalo, and he saved himself with a 73-yard touchdown reception off the screen pass. Do you trust him to do that again this week? Banged up? I mean, honestly, I'm at the point where maybe you should pick up Jarrett Patterson, just double down, make sure that you at least have a piece of that backfield. So I don't know how much longer Antonio Gibson can keep this up. We're only a third of the way through this season so far. And, not even a third of the way through the season so far. Yeah, a third of the way. And he's too banged up to finish a game. So, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I will be joining Mike Lynch and Rashad Taylor on 1080 The Fan Sunday morning for the Fantasy Scramble. We'll answer your start-sit questions. You can text them in to 503-250-1080. You can listen on Odyssey.com. I will have a link in the description below. Again, thank you for watching, and make sure that you check out my Week 7 wide receiver start-sits.